This is Muhammad Hamouda speaking. Today we are going to talk about English reduced forms in Arabic scientific translation, a case study. Actually, this paper focuses on the English reduced forms, how to render these scientific reduced forms from English into Arabic. First of all, what is meant by reduced forms? Reduced forms means that the lexical item or the lexical item is reduced, is part of this lexical item is deleted. So we have short a new item which is shorter than the original one. To look at lexical reduction in English, first of all, reduction. Reduction means omission. Omission, omitting parts of the word formation process. It is a word formation process. Word formation process means that we are going to have a new vocabulary or a new lexical item which is similar to the previous one. Semantically, it is identical semantically to the previous one or to the original one, but it is shorter. Morphologically, it is shorter than the original one. So, reduction means omission, removal of some parts of the word, of the item, of the lexical, of the original item. Um, for example, look at these LCD, liquid crystal display. Actually, we have liquid crystal display. We have three lexical items. They are rendered or they are taken as LCD. LCD is a new vocabulary, a new item which is shorter than the original one. It is only three alphabets, while the original phrase is consisting of three words. This means reduction. We reduce or we omit certain parts of the original phrase. We take L from liquid and omit the rest of the word. We take C from crystal and we omit the rest of the word. Also, display we take only D and we omit or we delete the other alphabets or the other letters. So we have omission. Reduction means omission, removal of certain parts, and we form a new vocabulary or a new item which is completely, which is similarly, which is similar to the original one. Uh, Semantically, it is identical to the original one. Both of them, the new one and the previous one, refer to the same semantic vocabulary. Okay. Also, DVD, the same digital verticalized video. Okay. NASA also is the same. We have one, two, three, four. A lexical a phrase consisting of four lexical items: national aeronautics, space administration. It is taken, only the first alphabet is taken, and we form a new vocabulary or a new lexical item which is NASA. It is pronounced easily, even it is easier to the previous or to the original one. It is easier from the original one. Morphologically, it is shorter than the original one. Semantically, it is identical to the original one. Semantics يعني من ناحية المعنى، من ناحية المعنى نحكي احنا identical the same. من ناحية المورفولوجي، من ناحية التركيب نحكي احنا انه اقصر من الاول or من the original one. So actually these reduced forms cause a lot of difficulties in translation because in Arabic or English seems to use English seems to use reduced forms or to use reduction as a word formation process more frequently than Arabic. Arabic uses this strategy for word formation process limitedly, or Arabic is limitedly used reduction, while English is frequently used reduction. So we have a lot of, or so many acronyms, so many abbreviated forms or reduced forms from English which can't be translated as reduced forms into Arabic. Okay, because is limitedly uses Arabic limitedly uses reduction as a word formation process. Okay, look at types now. English reduced lexical forms take various parts. The first part is called acronym. This is acronym. What is meant by acronyms here? Actually, we have investigated acronyms widely, in deep or deeply. Acronym means taking the initial letter of every word in a phrase, we put them together and pronounce them as a one word. For example, N- uh, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. This is a phrase. Now we take in from every initial or we take the initial letter of every word in the phrase. N A T O, and then we pronounce them as a word. NATO. So look at NATO here. NATO اللي هو حلف الناتو. Actually it is shorter than the original one. This consisting of only one word, NATO, while the original phrase consisting of one, two, three, four words. So and it is pronounced as a one word. Look at FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization, منظمة الغذاء والزراعة. Uh, actually, it is also the same. It is reduced. It is shorter than the previous or the original phrase. Semantically, they are identical and they refer to the same thing. Okay, or to the same organization. So, acronyms involves taking the initial letters of every word in a phrase and then we are pronounce them as a one word. Um, Now, abbreviations is the second strategy or the second form of reduced lexical forms uh, are abbreviations. Actually, abbreviations taking also taking the initial letter of a word, but these letters are pronounced individually, not as a word. So the difference between acronym and abbreviation, an acronym is formed, the process of forming acronyms and abbreviations are the same, taking the initial letter of every word in a phrase, but the acronym pronounced these letters when we put these letters together in a word, we pronounce them as a one lexical item or the one lexical item, but abbreviations we pronounce them as letters individually, we pronounce them as letters. For example, look at UN, United Nations. We take the initial letter of every word UN, but we pronounce them as UN, letter by letter. USA, United States of America. Okay, so as you see, abbreviations are abbreviations are formed the same as acronyms, but the difference between them that abbreviations are pronounced individually, letter by letter. Okay, also a common feature about abbreviations is that some abbreviations are Latin origin or have Latin origins, and they are widely used in English. For example, look at e.g. It means for example, and it is taken from a Latin origin which is exempli gratia. Also AM, PM, post merdim and AM anti merdim. Okay, these are abbreviations, EG and AM or PM abbreviations widely used in English, in even in everyday speech are used in English. Also, but they have uh, uh, Latin origins. Okay. Also, another feature of abbreviation is taking the first letter or the first sound from the first two syllables, uh, the initial of two syllables in a word. For example, look at television. Tele, this is the first syllable, tele. The second syllable is vision. Now we take the first letter VT and the second letter from the second syllable V. We put these two letters together and pronounce them individually as TV, television. Okay. Um, Also, some some abbreviations are formed by taking the first and the last letter of the word. For example, DR, doctor, but, doctor, ST, sant, G, JR, junior, SR, senior. Actually, but these doctor, they are actually, it is written, but it can't be pronounced as they are. So, doctor, and this example, doctor leads us to another feature of abbreviations, that some abbreviations or have a written form, but they are not used in spoken communication or in spoken English. DR, for example, whenever we see DR, it is an abbreviated form, it is an abbreviation, but it can't be pronounced as DR, but it is pronounced as doctor. So we pronounce the original word, not individual words. Okay, now moving to the second type of reduced forms. The first type is acronyms and abbreviations, and they are treated as one type because they are so similar to each other. The second type is clipping. Now, in clipping, we cut the first syllable. We cut the first syllable of the word, and we consider it as a new word which refers to the original one. For example, gym. It is taken from gymnasium. We take the first part, which is gym, and we use it as an identical word for gymnasium. Laboratory. We take the first part, or we cut up the first syllable and we use it to refer to the original word. Bike is taken from bicycle, a phone is taken from mobile phone, and so on. So, clipping means taking the first syllable, cut up the first syllable from the word, and we use it as an identical word for the original one. Also, Some clippings are or have written forms, but they are not pronounced as clipping or as reduced forms. So they are written based, but not pronounced based or not spoken based. For example, eng from engineer, whenever we see this, we pronounce it as engineer, but we pronounce it as engineer, but we can write it as eng. Okay. Um, Also, blending, blending. Now, blending also it is a process of word formation, but it includes also shortening the word or shortening the phrase, and to introduce the a new word which is lexically similar and identical to the original one. Blending means taking the initial part of taking the initial syllable from the first word and the last part or the last syllable from the second word. We put these two syllables together to make a new or to introduce a new form. For example, smoke is taken from smoke, the first syllable from smoke, the last syllable from fog are taken smoke, og, and they are put together and pronounced as a new word as smoke. Okay. Uh, Brunch also is taken from breakfast and lunch. And brunch means يعني وجبة بين البريكفاست، بين الفطور وبين الغداء، وجبة في النص بينهم as a snack يعني. احنا هنا نسميها brunch. So the first part of breakfast is taken, the last part of lunch is taken. These two parts put together, and we have a new word which is brunch, and it stands semantically, it stands in the middle between the two words. Oh, okay. Uh, Automobile, yeah. Autoside is taken from automobile and suicide. Okay. Um, Also, some blending words are taken. We can form some blending words by taking the first syllable from the first word and taking or associating this syllable into the second word as a whole, not part of it. For example, geology, politics, we can take the first part, geo, from geology. Politics, we take the whole word, we associate the first part, geo, with the last word, so we have geopolitics. The same is psycholinguistics, psychology and linguistics. Psycho is taken from psychology, linguistics is taken as a whole. We associate this psycho or the first syllable from the word psycho, and we take or associate this syllable to the word linguistics. And we have other, as you see, other blendings such as ecosystem, ecology, and system, afro, afrostatic, and so on, biochemistry, and so on. Now, to talk about lexical reduction in Arabic. Actually, Arabic, as we at the beginning of this lecture, we said that Arabic used lexical reduction as a process of formation as a process of formation of new words limitedly, or Arabic is associated with limited use of lexical reduction, while English is associated with uh, greatly used greatly use of lexical reduction. Now, regarding the acronyms in Arabic, most of them are religiously bound. For example, هلل نقول إحنا لا إله إلا الله، يعني هلل كبر الله أكبر، بسملة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ف we take the initial letters of every word. حوقلة قال لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله, and so on. So as you see, most of acronyms in Arabic are religiously bound. Uh, some some words or some acronyms are written, but they are not pronounced as acronyms. For example, صلعمة. احنا بنكتبها، ممكن احنا نكتبها صلعمة بس ما بنلفظها صلعمة. We usually pronounce it as صلى الله عليه وسلم. طيب. Also, in modern standard Arabic, the second one, also abbreviations and blends usually are very, very few in Arabic. For example, look at D. احنا دايما بنستخدم حرف الدي. دال محمد أو دال زلفة. هنا بنحكي احنا دال قصدنا احنا دكتور محمد أو دكتورة زلفة أو something like this. So دال is used to donate doctor, but it is not pronounced as دال. احنا صحيح بنكتبها دال دوت زلفة، فاحنا لما نكتبها هيك بس لما نلفظها when we pronounce it as دكتور زلفة. Okay. The same with ميم. يعني بنقول احنا ميم ممكن نقول ميلادي لو اجت مع تاريخ، ممكن تكون مهندس لو اجت مع اسم شخص or something like this. تمام. حرف الهاء ايضا يعني بيعني احنا قصدنا فيه هجرة. Okay. Now also plinths. Regarding plinths in Arabic, they are very, very few. احنا دايما بالعربي بنستخدم متشائل. متشائل معناها ناخد جزء متشائل يعني متشائم ومتفائل في نفس الوقت. فاحنا بناخد جزء من المتفائل، ناخد أول جزء منها متفائل، وبعدين ناخد الجزء الثاني من متشائم ومنحط شائم ومنحط الاثنين جزئين اللي أخدناهم سوا، فبطلع لعندي كلمة متشائل. These two or this word stands in the middle between متفائل and متشائم. نفس الحاجة كمان أعدقاء. عندي أعداء وأصدقاء. أعداء taken أعد is taken from أعداء. قاء is taken the last part of أصدقاء. These two parts are put together and are pronounced as a one word. So also عندي أنا المركب المزجي in Arabic or blended compound. أنا هنا كهرومغناطيسي، باخد جزء كهرو من الكهرباء وباخد الكلمة الثانية كاملة، وهذا الجزء الأول اللي أخذته من الكلمة الأولى attached to the whole word or to the whole second word, and we pronounce it as one word as كهرومغناطيسي. نفس الحاجة أفرو آسيوي، أفريقي آسيوي and so on. طيب، يعني lastly to summarize this lecture نلخصها بشكل سريع. أول حاجة تكلمنا إحنا عن reduced forms وقلنا reduction means omission وبالتالي omitting certain parts of the word or from the phrase. And we have a new vocabulary which is identical semantically to the original one but morphologically it is shorter than the original one. حكينا أيضا أنه باللغة العربية abbreviated forms or reduction or lexical reduction in Arabic is limitedly existed but in English it is widely used. حكينا abbreviation and acronyms are the process of forming abbreviations and acronyms are the same, taking the initial letter of every word from the phrase, but the pronunciation is different. Acronyms are pronounced as a whole word, but abbreviation are pronounced as one word. حكينا إنه في اللغة العربية أيضا حكينا most of the acronyms are religiously bound. أغلبهم religious in religious context. بعضهم في شغلات كتير إحنا بنكتبها كاختصارات ولكن ما بنقرأها كاختصارات. مثال عليها صلعمة صلى الله عليه وسلم. في الإنجليزية أيضا أخذنا مثال دي آر قلنا إحنا نلفظها دكتور بس بنكتبها دي آر ممكن نكتبها دي آر. Actually this is the end of this lecture. We are next lecture we are going to talk about the translation or the strategies used in rendering these acronyms or these abbreviated forms from English and Arabic. That's the end of this lecture. Thank you very much.